I think we, not just me, but we will ask a couple of questions, and if someone knows the answer, this person will be punished with a t-shirt. Yeah, so welcome to the second part. So a quick reminder.
Sorry, I got you.
A quick reminder. Semantic web. It's all about turtles, right? So this is just a different representation that you will also see a lot used in the literature. It's this graph-like presentation where you have the subject and the object, and they're connected with the predicate, so with a little flash. So you can see the example from before. The image has a license which is Creative Commons NC 2.5. Yeah, so we are currently experiencing this fundamental shift on the web. So the web is the big W that you can see, www. This is the original logo of the World Wide Web. And in the World Wide Web we had this idea of, we have different hosts and we have bits that get sent from one host to the other. And so now with the semantic web, which is this funny cube and the, I don't know how to call this, the three balls connected with, it's a node, it's a graph with nodes, so the little graphy thing, where, these bits suddenly get a meaning. So it's not just sending bits from host to host, but bits with a meaning from host to host. So let's have a look at one example website, which could be, for example, BelgianChocolates.com. So an online retailer that sells chocolates, for example. And this might be the very bad landing page, but you get the idea. One back. So you have the title, which is BelgianChocolates.com, and then you have a product and so on. And now, so for us as human beings, it's very clear what each of these components on the website represent. So we have the product image, we have the price, we have the product name, we have a merchant name. But to machines, this is incredibly hard to understand what is what on a website. Next, please. So how can website owners help search engines, help Google make sense of these bits? So there's a couple of different techniques that you might have heard of. The rendering is a bit broken, sorry for that. Microformat is one thing that you might have heard of. Microdata, one way. No worries. Just leave it like that. And then finally we have RDFA. Fixed. So there's basically three different standards. I want to get a quick hands. Who has heard of microformats? Yeah, that's a technical audience. Nice. Who's heard of microdata? Yeah? Some more hands. And who's heard of RDFA? Everyone, because you've listened to the talk before. Good. So basically there are different, I won't say competing standards, but different standards. If you think back a little, what has been there before? Microformats has been like the first of these standards, which was a very grassroots initiative to give things a meaning. So if people would put their address on their blogs, they could use microformats and say, this is the street, this is the city, this is the zip code, and this is my name, for example. So like this, they have a virtual business card on their website. So this is the kind of things that microformats can do. And over time, a lot of different microformats were added to the grassroots standard. So it was never official in a way, it was a grassroots movement. And it has a huge success, basically. So don't underestimate grassroots initiatives. And then the second standard, so it's in the wrong order here, was RDFA, so Resource Description Format, RDFA in attributes. And we will talk about RDFA today. And then we have microdata, which is one of the latest proposals, and it was around HTML5. So it's really one of the very new things. And yeah, depending who you ask, if you ask W3C, or if you ask the what working group, it is part of HTML5, or it's not part of HTML5, or it's a different standard. So I don't really understand what is going on. I don't really care, to be completely honest. I just consider it something that people talk about, that people want to make a standard. So let's leave away everything political, all the political discussion here. It's just yet another standard, or might be standard. So yeah, we have 3 of them on the web, and people use 3 of them. So the thing is, you cannot say just as a search engine we support microformats and we're done, because you lose a lot of information that is out there. So basically the message here is, because there are different standards, we need to support them. Next please. So now the idea is, from a structured markup on a website like this, so you're not supposed to read this, it's just an example of how a structured markup might look like. How can I come to this? So this is a concert website, and you can see this is a snippet coming from Google, and we call these kind of snippets rich snippets, because they're richer than normal snippets, because you can see here Philipp Poisel is a German singer, and you can see he has concert in Offenbach, Münster, Osnabrück, and you can see the dates at the right. So this is structured data, and you can see the source. This comes from Last.fm. So yeah, how can we come from structured markup somewhere on a website to this rich snippet? We will talk about this today. But first of all, I want to show a couple of rich snippets. We can also try to find them live. So let's switch to the browser. Search for, let's try this restaurant in Brno. Yeah, so you can see these are a couple of annotated places. Scroll down a little, please. Yeah, so in this case, we have all the, we don't really have rich snippets in the sense of rich snippets embedded, but we have all the place pages at the first result, because this is a very strong signal for the search engine that we are interested in restaurants in this town. So we have a very expanded first result, if you want, in a certain way. And you can see here, there is different information from different websites. So you can see each of these restaurants and hotels has its own landing page, but all of them are represented more or less in the same way, because all of them have a rating, and all of them say, based on how many ratings, or how many actual ratings, is this star rating displayed here. So you can see, for example, E has just 1 review, so we don't display the stars, but for the other ones, like just the one above, Hotel Slavia in this town, has almost 4 stars based on 134 reviews. And these reviews, if you click on it, these reviews come from different places. So you can see they come from Booking.com, from Frommer's.com, from HotelClub.com, and if you go down a bit, and more down, for this example, we don't have this. So this is a couple of reviews here. I will have to bring up a different example where I can show this. Sorry. Switches my layout. New York. And I'm searching on maps now. Yeah, sorry. Let's try this example. Oh, that's the wrong side. And we have a flash intro. Hooray! This is what I wanted to get. So this is one place in New York, and this is what I wanted to show you. So you can see there's a lot of reviews. So in this case, we have 658 coming from Yelp, 81 from Urban Spoon, and so on. And you can see here there's separate categories. So we have food, we have service, we have corned beef, we have portions, we have prices, and so on. And you can see here, the more red you see in this bar, the less happy people are. So something seems to be wrong with the service here. So if you open this, you can see what, let me make this bigger so that you can read what people say about the service. So you can see the service was terrible, the staff was rude, and so on. Argument and poor customer service, and so on. So we're really talking again about language processing here. So in this case it works decently well. And you can see, there's a couple of things that you would come up with. If you have a restaurant, what are you interested in? You have the service probably, the prices, and so on. But in this case, something surprising is here, the corned beef. So obviously this place seems to be known for their corned beef. And indeed, the first comment is the Carnegie Deli is renowned for its pastrami and corned beef sandwiches. So this is not just things that are fixed, so like menu, prices, and so on. You will find this obviously, but also things that are extracted, that people seem to find special of this very place. So if you think of all the reviews aggregated and then you run something like natural language processing over it, you can do what is called sentiment analysis and try to find out if someone says something about a restaurant, was he positive or was he negative, and what was he positive and what was he negative about. And if you do this for a lot of different places, you have something like this. So let's go back to here. This was a small excursion to reviews. You have seen here a couple of examples already. So this is what you can also find when the signal is not so clear. So you can see here the query was just Xan, which seems to be a place of a restaurant in Mountain View, as you can see from the map. So it's obviously not so clear because what we did, we said we want to have restaurants in this town, so in Brno. This is why a lot of results came up in the first place, but in this example, it is mixed because it's not clear yet, are we talking about the restaurant or about anything else? So next slide, please. This is a nice example for bridge snippet markup for people. We can try this live and see if it works. If you just search for, let me type this. Gupta. Paddy Gupta is one of the guys from the Rid Snippets team, and he's always a good example because for him it works perfectly. So you can see here his LinkedIn page, and you can see San Francisco Bay Area and profession software engineer. Does anyone of you have a LinkedIn profile and doesn't care to Google his name or her name here? So you can try it live. Anyone courageous enough? Maybe we can give out a t-shirt. But I can try it for myself, but last time it didn't work for myself. LinkedIn. This is someone who is not me. But I'm the third result. Yeah. So you can see this time it works. When we gave this talk last time, none of the demos worked because we were in a different experimentation group. Now we're on the lucky side, so you can see here Hamburg area, and this is my profession. And this other guy from Switzerland, Ticino, Switzerland, sales marketing assistant at Grand Hotel Villa Castagnola Olac. Okay, so now we know that this other guy works in this hotel. So this is the person grid snippet format. Back to the presentation, please. Yeah. Next is event. So we have kind of seen this with the Philip Corsella example. Let's try to find something local here. Do any of you know if someone... It should be someone like, I don't know, Madonna or something, so someone really known is giving a concert in this town or somewhere in Prague or something? Sorry?
Gael.
Can you just write it out?
K-A-R-L space G-O-T-T.
T? And it's...
No, it's a singer.
Yeah, I know, but he's performing in which town?
And we're trying to find concrete events. So if any one of you, if you know a concrete event, a concrete concert or something that is coming up.
Let's try Digital. This next month.
Okay.
Yeah, the first one.
Yeah, the second one. Wait, up. Yeah. For the second one we have a real snippet. So you can see here Friday, June 17. In this bar. Yeah, this is also with a deep link. Yeah, but if you go to the first. And we have this one here in gray. Yeah, so in this case we have a good example for both formats. Yeah. Click the deep link. What does happen if you click the deep link? No, not this one. Click one of the concrete links. So, Gesto or something. Yeah. Yeah, so this comes from last FM. But this is... Is it DJ Test or is it this guy?
Yes.
Yes.
These are in other places.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
One about that is
Croatia. So this one was Croatia.
What about that? No, about the search result about that.
Yeah, this one. Yeah. Click the deep link. And this looks good. Yeah. 17th of June. Anyone know if it's true?
Yeah.
Probably. Okay. So this was an event rich snippet. Back to the appraisal, please. And next. We have seen this before. This was just a reminder. So rich snippet format are also found for recipe. I think we don't need to show it again, but you can see here you have reviews, you have the preparation time, you have the cooking time. You also have sometimes the calories. Yeah. Next, please. So another question is, how do we get this data? You've seen for some of the pages we used Yelp, for example. Yeah, let's look at the website first. Actually, let's try to do this live because it's more interactive like this. So this was Drooling Bar. What was the exact name? Let's see. Drooling Dog Barbecue. Drooling Dog. Yeah, this. Yeah, so here we have the snippet for this place. So you can see it seems to be a relatively good place based on 26 reviews. And so mid-price range. If you click it, they seem to have shut down the place because the Yelp page says it's closed now, but the page still exists. Yeah, so you can see this is the website, and you have the 26 reviews, just as the red snippet says, and then you have here their rating system that they use on Yelp, and in this case, they happen to use also a 5-star rating, just as the snippet does. But sometimes pages like this would use, I don't know, a 10-star rating system, so that people can rate from 1 to 10 stars. But 1 would mean the person died when they eat there, and 10 would mean it was the best place ever. But there's also this concept of open rating, where people can just say the worst is 0 and the best is open, so that people can really rate up to, I don't know. So there's different rating systems. In the end, they all need to be broken down to this 5-star rating system, so that we have the option to mix results from, say, Yelp and from a random website that would allow 10-star ratings. But yeah, this is relatively easy to do. So yeah, this is the website, but now let's see how this is done. So warning for the technical, non-technical people, now we will dive a bit into source code. So what I can do with this Chrome web browser is I can click some of the elements, so for example here this image, and say I want to inspect it. And then opens a web inspector, and you can see the source code of this website. Let me try to make this bigger. It doesn't make the important parts bigger, but maybe you can, yeah, probably not. It's really small. But you can see that this is an image. Wait, how can you fix this? Copy as HTML. Let's try this. And then make a new document. Paste it in here. Can people in the last rows read this, or at least see what we're talking about? Can you give signals? Yes. Okay. So you can see this is just an image, and you can see it has a class attribute, and the attribute name, attribute value is rating average. So yeah, we were talking about the star rating, so it makes sense that we have this rating average here. And then we have an alt attribute and a title attribute, where you can see this is a 5.0 star rating. So first question for the technical people, what format is this? Is it RDFA? Is it microdata? Is it microformats? I've heard it somewhere here. Microformats is the correct answer. Who said it? It was more here, I would say. But I can be wrong. Was it here? Okay. So we have the first T-shirt. Do we have different websites?
Yes.
Do we have different sizes?
After the lecture, I can give the
Okay. So remember that you got a T-shirt. Don't let him fool you. Yeah. So this is the microformat markup for this rating. So you can see it's really nothing special. The only thing that you had to do was you had to give a certain class. So now what we will do is we will have a look. So let me go back to normal scale. I need both hands, sorry. And then I try to find the read snippet documentation for ratings. Reviews, sorry. Yeah, here we are. Alright, so here I can make it bigger. Yeah, so this is the concrete example. And then let's see what we have to do. So first of all, we have to say what we're talking about. So we have item reviewed or item, because we need to say, are we rating a restaurant? Are we rating a CD? Are we rating I don't know what? So before it didn't show you, but this is on the website. We can go back to the Yelp website and see afterwards how this works. What we did see was the rating. So this one, rating. And if you read the example, the description, it says a numerical value, quality rating for the item. For example, 4. So we saw a 4-star rating. And then you have a couple of other attributes here. Reviewer, DT reviewed, so the date, time where this item was reviewed. You have a description and a summary. So let's see the microformats example. I will even try to make it yet a little bigger. Yeah, so like this. So you can see this is an example for a pizza place, which is called, so let's try to show where we are in the code. So the whole thing, this whole div is, where is my mouse? Here, is a review, right? So HR is always something like a namespace in a certain way, where they say, well, this is a micro format. So, sorry, the H. And then you have review. So this whole div is about a review. And then we have a span element that has a class item. So now we're talking about the concrete item. And you can see the concrete name, so the N is for name, that we're talking about is this place, which is called La Morita Pizza. And then we have a clear text, which states reviewed by, and then we have a span element, class reviewer. So now we have the concrete person, and this person's name is, how do you pronounce this? Ulysses, I don't know, Grant. And then we have the date, time reviewed. So when was this thing reviewed? And you can see something interesting going on, because we have the span value, which is Jan 6, so January 6. And we have inside here, in the title, the machine-readable version. So this is interesting because for machines, human dates are unreadable. But if you give them ISO dates, so formatted in the year, month, day format, they can understand it. So if you use this trick, then you have a span element with a class, and then give the machine-readable value here, and the human-readable value here, you can kill two birds with just one stone. So now we know when this thing was reviewed, and then we have a summary, which is just, the person talks about how good the pizza was there, the description of the place, so you can see blah blah, they do something with pizza, and finally, and this is what we have seen before, you can see here the rating, so class rating 4.5. What we've seen in the Yelp example was the same, using an image. So the good thing here is, because it's dynamic, you can use just show the number, or you can show an image that represents the number. So we are very flexible. So this is how this works in this case. So let's go back. Oh, where was it? This one. So now we're on the website again. Because I cannot really make the thing big enough, I will show you the source code and we will try to navigate in there. Okay, first of all, let's make it big enough. And then we're searching for 26 reviews to find the actual place where they say this. 26 reviews? Yeah, great. Okay, and now we're diving into the source code for this. And let's see, so description, so if you remember back from...
It is ordinary make attack for next...
Yeah, back from here we have this description. And then what else do we have? Oh, sorry. Yeah. No, I got it here. Yeah, I think here we are. But they should have the description somewhere in there. Let's see. So you can see the review count based on how many reviews. It's hard to find because this is... okay, so let's try to find a review. Yeah, so now we have the element where all this is in there. And you can see what before was this div is now inside of a list element, so li, class hyperreview, class HReview, and then we have class item, and then they're talking about this during.barbecue place. Here we have the review details. Yeah, so it's a bit hard to read. So we were searching for 4.0. Yeah, here we are. Here we have the actual image. So class rating, and then you can see here where they give the concrete rating. So you can see I'm not telling lies. This is coming from a live website. And as you have seen, comparing the live example and comparing the... Oops, this is not what I wanted to do. I wanted to go to here. And the example coming from here. You can see that with these markup formats you can do things in different ways. So here they use a div, in the other example they use the list element, and so on. So basically, where you put in these class names is more or less free to you. You have certain constraints, but basically you're relatively free as long as they can express what you want. Yeah, this is the way how this is done using microformats. So you can see here there are different ways that you can look at it. So we've talked about RDF before, so let's have a look at this example where semantically the same is done but using a different format. So when we're talking about RDFA, we're back in the relatively ugly land of XML namespaces. Yeah. So the first thing that we have to do here is declare a namespace where we say everything with a prefix we is in this namespace. And then you can see here, where before we had HReview, in this case we have we:review. Okay, so we're talking about a review, but semantically it's still the same. And then before we had was it item or was it H item? I don't remember. I think it was just item. And now we have we:item review. But it's still the same. It's still this pizza place. Reviewed by, and you have the reviewer here. Date, time, reviewed. And then you can see the same trick again. So we have this value for human beings. And now only the attribute has changed. We have content, and before it was a title. And again the ISO date. And then, the same things as before, summary, description, and so on. And then this kind of rating where we just put the number, and we have we rating, and then you can see the concrete value, which is inside of the element. So if you compare the different approaches, it's more or less the same. Semantically, it's just different mechanisms to do so. Just to be complete, let's have a look at the last example, which is the microdata approach. So here they say everything that is within this div is of item type, and then they say review. So one of the approaches, or one of the design principles of microdata was, I think, I'm not completely sure, but I think to avoid namespacing. So when before you had this shortcut, we:review, now each time when they say something, they need to put up the whole thing. rather than just the last part. And then you have item review and the thing. Item property reviewer, the name, date time, and you can see here they're using the time element to do it. So again, the mechanics are different, the semantics are completely the same. So very simple way, just choose whatever you want to make this work. So now the question is, if you have a website, how can you get this for your own websites? So obviously you can have a look at the examples here and do it manually. So if you just have a blog and you want to make sure that your business card is using a certain markup, you can do it manually. But ideally what you want to do is you want to embed this kind of things directly into your content management system so that you don't have to do the meta annotations yourself, but your content management system does it for you. So there's a couple of content management systems out there that do it for you already. Some of them will have heard. Some of those you will have heard of. For example, Drupal 7 is a very popular one that has RDFA support now. But a lot of companies, and this is something that I know from my previous job within Google, where I would visit a lot of companies, is a lot of companies have their own stuff because they needed, or they thought they needed a lot of customization. So yeah, a lot of companies also have their own content management systems. And sometimes for them it's not easy, sometimes for them it's even completely impossible to add this kind of markup on their pages. But usually what people want to do is get their content management systems produce this kind of markup already automatically. Yeah, so this is how we get this data from websites like Yelp. Next slide, please. So this was just backup. We saw this live. So next. So let's assume you and your company, you have seen this talk today, and you say, well, we have this list of ebooks, and we are a big editorial. We want to make sure that for all of these different ebooks, we have ratings, for example, or we have nice rich snippets. How can I test and make sure that they're correct? So for this, we have the rich snippets testing tool. Can you bring this up, please? Rich snippets testing tool. So the idea of this is maybe you have talked to your programming guys and they have made your content management system produce things, websites that use semantic markup. So how can you test if this works? So what he does now is he takes the URL from Yelp that we've seen before and he pastes it in here. And you can see that Yelp, they've done it correctly in this case. So go up a bit again. Yeah, you can see the preview here. So if we were to take this website, which we actually do, and we were to produce a rich snippet, this is how it would look like. So yeah, and then you can see here they extracted pieces of data from this website. Is anyone of you already producing RDFA or microdata or microformats for the website, or has a blog that has microformats or something? Yeah. Would you care to put your URL in there just to test?
Yes.
Is it complicated, or shall we? I mean, you want to type it, or shall?
I can give you the list, or I can spell it.
Okay, let's try this.
So it's www. Global dash global dash
White science.
yes, WINES .cz. But it's actually for concrete product. So, and the product is it's slash, and the product is Royal. Dash Oporto, which is DOFTO. Dutch. It's not one, but
I think this makes a t-shirt.
Yeah. TAWNY.
W, sorry.
TN. Sorry, TA.
T-A-W-N-Y.
No. TAWNY. Tony.
Why?
Okay.
That's it.
Yay! So applause for this gentleman. This means a t-shirt. Yeah, so great. So you can see here we have a review based. So first, 4-star review based on 3 reviews, and let's open the actual page just to see. Oh, because this is simulation, it doesn't work. Okay, so let's go like this. Nice. So you can see here 3. I guess this means reviews.
Yeah.
And then we have rating 3 times. Okay. And then we have the 4 stars.
There is
So-
only one problem. It doesn't show in Google search results. So I'm like, the question
Yeah.
is why it doesn't show there.
Okay, so this is what usually happens. We show this, people test this, and finally people come back and say, hey, on the testing tool it looks perfect, everything seems to be fine, but it doesn't show. So why is that? So first of all, there is no guarantee in a way that if then, so there is no such relation. It is a little bit more complicated. So rich snippets can be shown if they're useful. So when are they useful? When there is a certain amount of traffic to your website. So when people, for example, are interested in comparing this product, when people also search for reviews or tests. So basically when there are signals that people seem to want to compare this product in contrast to other products. So I don't know if you have analyzed your website traffic, if people query your website in this way, and also if they query it in a way that people would understand that it is about comparing products.
It's mainly about the traffic, about the size of the site.
It's a little bit more complicated, and it's also a bit dynamic. Okay, so if I would tell you today that I don't know, you need, let's just make an example, 100 queries a day that have test or review in there plus oil or Tony.
Because if you put this that wine, if you put it in the Google, it shows up the results, and there was probably one result with the reviews shown in the rich snippet.
Yeah, so this is what I wanted to say now. It is dynamic, so sometimes you hit the criteria, sometimes you don't hit them. And the thing is, these criteria change all the time. So all the ranking signals change all the time. The thing is basically, we don't consider it something static. So if today you knew the secret formula, how to make rich snippets appear all the time, we would probably sell this knowledge and everyone would use the same kind of format. So it would be useless because suddenly every page would have rich snippets. So what Google does is it changes the criteria all the time. So there was this statistic from Matt Cutts. So Matt Cutts is one of our search gurus that I don't remember the concrete number, but I think it was like each day it was 1.5 or something changes of the ranking criteria. So it's really a very dynamic system, basically. I want to show you one more thing, if I may. Here. Oops. Then you go to the help. here, rich snippets not appearing. So this is the complete explanation, more or less, what I was saying here. But one of the things that you probably didn't know, here, it is somehow hidden at the very end of this page. Let us know. So this is a form where you can say, well, we are this website and we do have rich snippets. Please take a look at them. We are interested in Google showing them. So it is something like a we are interested in form. Okay, so this is not a guarantee neither. This is just you give Google a ping and say, hey, we have rich snippets. How to say? Data that can generate rich snippets, I guess. So you need to fill in a couple of fields here, and then you can submit this form. So this might also help. But if not, check this this help article here and see if you have done everything that is mentioned in there. And if still your rich snippets are not shown, this is nothing to be worried about. Basically, there is still the information out there. So if you have annotated your website, it will be useful in some way, be it for other search engines as well, be it simply for the future because you've done it. So you're already in the right clusters. So people, search engines know that you have structured markup, so you will be ahead of others. And in the end, it also helps people who might want to build a mashup based on your website, for example, and try to make sure, well, this is always the rating, so that they can pull your rating system into their price comparison website, for example. So this kind of things can happen. So basically, everything is not lost if your rich snippets don't show up. They might show up, and you say they did show up one day. It's a little bit of you don't do this in vain because you don't see it. It's more like you still do a lot for your website.
Thank you for answering.
But it's a very important question. It always comes at this point usually because someone always has implemented and didn't see it at the first place. And also what might happen is it might be live on .com but not on .cz, for example. So google.com but not on the local pages. This is also something that might happen. And oftentimes you do have the coming from the checked version cookie set. So even if you go to .com, you will still be treated some way like a checked user. So all these are things that can happen. But yeah, the message here is it's not all lost time. It's very, very little information. You had a question, or was it? Okay. Let's go back to the presentation. Yeah. So we had the rich snippets testing tool. And then maybe if you are into this, it's kind of an unhappy word, but if you are in this field of semantic SEO, anyone have heard of this term, semantic SEO? So SEO, search engine optimization. Yeah, so maybe you have read about the Best Buy stories, and I've prepared 3 examples from Best Buy because currently they're one of the leading companies that have this semantic SEO idea. So let's go live to the website. Like this, I can show it best. Yeah. Okay. So this is a landing page for a certain Best Buy store in some place in San Francisco. So Best Buy is. Do we have a MediaMarkt in Czech Republic? No. But it's a big electronic chain. Okay. So in France it would be Darty or something. So in Germany it's MediaMarkt. So this is Best Buy in the United States. And it's a more or less nice website, so let's have a look at it, what they have. They have the address here, So, whoops, sorry. So you can see where it is. You can get a map, and then you can see reviews. So they seem to be really bad in this store. Only 1.8 or 5. And then they have the opening hours, and you can see they have marked today. Today is a Friday, and they're yellow, so they are trying to say that they are open currently. I'm not sure if they take into account the time shift. Probably not. But 10 a.m. this would be no. So they are not taking into account time shifting, but they seem to be open because they just think of people in the United States navigating the website. They're highlighting today, and this is pretty much what we can, as human beings, extract from this website. So let's try to imagine this website being analyzed from a machine. How can I do this? We can take this website and throw it in the rich snippet testing tool. It's hard to navigate because everything is so big. Here? Yeah. Let's try this. And there you have the review. So you can see 12 reviews, and there's 1 point something star rating. And then a lot of warnings. So they're not really doing everything right. They're doing some things right, which you can see here, but they're not doing everything right. So let's try to find out what for a machine is readable on this website. So we had the address. So if you jump back to the website, this is the address. So it's 2675 Erie Boulevard, Suite 300, blah blah blah, San Francisco. Let's have a look at this. So in microformats, there's this geo field, and you can see they have a lot of warnings in there. So let's try to debug on the actual website. So again, this is live from the web, so you can see they have stripped off all the spaces to transmit less bits over the wire. So this is why it looks really ugly, but in the end we can still make sense of it. So you can see here a span with the geo, and then you can see the latitude and the longitude. So this helps machines place this thing in the end, this place, this store, on a map. Because now you know that using this latitude and longitude, so let's try it. Like this. So you can see I've simply searched for the latitude and longitude values on Google, and it gives me a map. And you can read here Erie Boulevard and this address. So if we open it, we can search things that are nearby and try to find the Best Buy. And indeed, the first result here is a Best Buy. It has a different rating, but it should be the same place. So let's have a look where this information comes from. Yeah, so you can see the ratings came from Yelp, from Yahoo, and from Superpages. So obviously, Best Buy has an internal rating system that people can rate the store experience at Best Buy only on Best Buy. So this is why the rating values here are not the same. But if you look at the address, here we have it, 2675 Geary Boulevard, and if we go back to here, 2675 Geary Boulevard, U300. So you can see we could place this store on a map. So this is what a machine makes out of it, and you can see it's really accurate. Let's have a look at the next thing, which was, let's search for the postcode, this one. Yeah, you can see it here. So now you can see how they mark up their addresses. So you can see we have a span that has a property street address, something Geary Boulevard, and so on. Locality, San Francisco, region, California, postal code, then you can see the postal code, and they have markup for the telephone number, and then we have seen this before, the latitude and longitude. So this is what a machine can see. They seem to have some problems in there. Let's jump back to the field here. At least one field must be set for geo point. So probably geo needs to have a geo point below, which they didn't do. But yeah, it was enough for search engines to make sense of it already. Also combined with the addresses. Yeah, so they're missing basically just some fields. But yeah, overall, their markup is relatively good. Let's see the next thing that I wanted to show you. Store opening hours. So for us, it's, as human beings, you can see it's relatively clear. So they're open from 10 to 9 every day, including Sunday. Yeah, because they're week. Oh, on Sunday they're closing at 7. But all other days they're open until 9. So let's have a look how this information is marked up. So let's search for one of these strings in the markup. Yeah. So now you can see. Then you can see a lot. Let's try to find the beginning. Yeah. So if you start reading from here, you can see a div element that has a class hours, so opening hours, and a relation of GR has opening hours specification. So GR is the namespace prefix for a vocabulary called good relations. So if you have terms like has opening hours specification or like this one, opening hours specification, or has opening hours day of week, these are terms coming from a certain vocabulary. So this vocabulary is something like, the terms that you can use in a certain language, in a language that a computer can understand. So GR defines one of those. If you look at what GR means, we have to go to the XML namespace declaration, where they give information about GR. So XMLNS colon GR. Yeah, here we have it. So now we are at the very beginning of the website. You can see here's the doc type, then we have HTML, then we have a lot of other namespaces, and then we also have the XML namespace for GR. So good relations. The good thing is, what we can do now is we can simply take this and paste it in a web browser. And hopefully, whoa, this is, so it seems like the redirection service is not working. So because this site redirects to good relations, something on HEP. Yeah. So if the redirect would be working, which is Perl, it would work, but now you can see that I've typed in the URL manually. You can see this is the landing page of the vocabulary. So this is where this vocabulary is described. Good relations, so you can see already from the shopping cart, is designed for retail stores online, or for people that sell services or sell items over the internet, or also offline, but who have a website. So let's see, where is the specification? So you can see if I click here, we're landing on this page. So this is the Good Relations language reference. And then all the terms of the vocabulary are defined here. So you can see business entity, offering, or what did we have here? I have to search for this first. So let's go to this, for example. There's opening hours, days of week. And if you search this in here, so now we can see the documentation of this vocabulary. So we can see here that this specifies the day of week to which the opening hour specification is related. So for each of the days of the week, we have an opening hour specification, because companies or stores tend to have very complex opening hours. So you've seen here, it was relatively simple. It was all day open 10 to 9, only Sunday 10 to 7. But very oftentimes, typically for smaller shops, we have things like on Mondays to Tuesdays, they're open till 8. On Wednesday to Friday, they're open till, 8. But sometimes they close, or they're only open on the mornings because whatever random reason. Or in Spain, they close during lunchtime and open only at 5 in the afternoon. So this is why this is relatively complex. And you can see here, you can check each of the terms of the vocabulary and see what it is meant. What it's meant for. So something very simple is GR opens, which basically just says it opens at a certain time. And then you can see here, the data type of this is XSD time. The content is this machine-readable version. So we've seen this before, which is just the time in ISO format, so hours, minutes, seconds. And then this is the human-readable version, 10 AM. So they put 10 and then this little a for the American time format. So we've seen this trick before. Here you can see it on a different website. And then if there is GR opens, there is GR closes. And then you can see very nicely the machine reads the ISO time, so 21 o'clock, and the human beings read this version, 9 o'clock PM. Right? So this is relatively complex if you look at it in the whole context, because you need to say, well, what is the shop? What is this relevant to? Is it just some random shop, or is it this very shop in Geary Boulevard? But in the end, it's relatively simple at the same time, because you can look up all the vocabulary terms, and basically it's just, once you get it right, once you make your machine produce this data, you can automate the process. So this was the example of Best Buy for the shop landing pages. The next example, again, Best Buy. So I don't work for them. I don't get money from them. It's just they are currently one of the leaders in this field. So the next example is RDFA enriched search results. Let's see if this works. So you can see from the URL, I'm searching for iPods. And then you can see a list of results on this website. And you can see here, this is a lot of search results for very different kinds of iPods. And all of them have the same. You have the rating. Do they tell you the price? No, they don't. Oh, right here. They tell you the price here. They tell you the ratings. I said this already. This is the name of the product. So let's analyze one of these items. I search for this string. So now again we're going into the source code of this website. Yeah, here we have it. I make it big enough for you to read. Okay, and then let's find this string. Yeah, and then you can see here the price of something. So this was the price of an iPod, and you can see GR has currency value, and then yellow here the complete value, and then you can see the human readable version here, which is $129.99, and then they give it a data type and say this is a float, and because here they have said it is something that has a currency value, now machines can figure out that this is a price. This is not a temperature, this is not the weight of something, this is the price of something. So a very good concept to give machines a direction. If you would think of, I don't know, you have a website where you have cars that you want to sell. For a car, you have a lot of numbers. So you have the speed, you have the power, you have the weight, you have the consumption. So a lot of numbers. If you give machines a direction, which of these numbers mean what, you can imagine that this is very good information, very valuable information for machines, for price comparison sites, for car comparison websites in this example, for iPod comparison websites where you compare the storage of something, so you can compare let's say an iPod with Zune and see which of them has more memory and so on. So basically, what is the overall idea of this? You can see the web as one big giant database where you can say, give me the weights of a couple of products, and then you can compare them. This is a first step towards this vision that people enrich the markup on their pages using this kind of markup. Yeah, so this is this example. The last example, I want to show you track listings on Best Buy again. Again, a complete landing page. Okay, so it is already big. Let's make it small, then we have the overview. So I was searching for Justin Timberlake and his great CD Justified. So I'm not listening to this, but it's a nice example to display here. So again, the same thing, but now if you click on a concrete CD, this one, you go to a website, which is the landing page of this CD, and you can see here the track listing of this CD. So let's play this track. Yeah. Okay, just for the video. So we listened to Cry Me a River of Justin Timberlake live and direct in this presentation. Why did I show this? Because this is a lot of knowledge that is in there for human beings, but let's have a look how machines can read this. So, Cry Me a River, so we need to find... Again, I show you this, the source code, and we search for Cry Me a River. So here we have it already. So now you can see a different vocabulary because we have a different prefix, DC, which stands for Dublin Core. Who of you has heard of Dublin Core before? Okay, what is it?
It's some kind of ontology.
Yeah, I think we can give him a t-shirt. Right. Okay, so yeah, this is a different ontology, a different vocabulary. And you can see this is used to specify the title of something. In this case, of a CD track. So now let's have a look at the website again. We have here the 5 and then Crimea River. So for us as human beings, it's clear. 5 means it is the number of the track on the CD. So let's have a look how a machine can read this. This is the 5. So we have MO track number. So what does MO stand for? Anyone know? Anyone fast enough to search it on their search engine of choice? MO? Okay, let's make this a t-shirt. Who is able to search it fast enough? MO, what does it stand for? So I will continue meanwhile. What was that? Who said it? Was someone here?
Music object.
Music what?
Object. This is just a guess.
Ontology, did you say? I think we give him a t-shirt. Yeah, MO stands for music ontology. Okay, so someone needs to keep track of t-shirts. How many of you still have left?
For some guys, I mean.
We can also talk about a job offer. Okay. Alright, so you can see Crimea River is the DC title of this thing, and the positive integer 5 is the music ontology track number. So what do we have here? Folk maker. Next t-shirt, what does folk stand for? This was you. Yeah. So another t-shirt for friends of a friend. So what is the most fascinating thing here? They're mixing vocabularies like crazy. So we have DC, we have FOV, we have MO, we had GR, so good relations, music ontology, what did I say? Friends of a friend. And if we jump to the very beginning where all the XML namespaces happen, where is that? XMLNS. Oh yeah, obviously OG. What does OG stand for? Open Graph. It was somewhere here, last row. Okay, gentleman with orange t-shirt. So we have Open Graph from Facebook. We have FB for Facebook Markup Language, FBML. What else do we have? Yeah, now we're talking. Then we have GR, Good Relations. RDFS, which stands for RDF Schema. V, which is the namespace for the Google vocabulary. MO, music ontology. DC for DC content. And I guess that's about it. Friend of a friend, yeah, we've seen this. Yeah, so now we're running in circles. So basically, they're mixing a whole bunch of vocabularies in one website. This sounds a bit weird at the first place, but finally this is the very mighty concept here. Because what is the advantage here? Let's imagine, what was the name of the local Best Buy? Tatar? Like this. So let's imagine Tatar would want to mark up all their CDs and all their MP3 listings on their website using a vocabulary. And because they wanted to start from scratch, they would probably invent an ontology on their own, a vocabulary on their own, and they would say, we have Tatar, CD track number, for example. And then Best Buy uses music ontology track number. So basically what we have is two different vocabularies that define the same thing. So one of the things that we can do, we can say, we define mappings, so that we say something from example, track number is the same, does have the same meaning as music ontology track number. Or ideally, and this is what these guys do, they simply reuse things that exist on the internet. So FOV, music ontology, all these things have been invented or have been made up way before Best Buy tried to use it. So the good thing is they can simply use it on their website because this is open technology. This is just vocabularies in a certain way, so just in quotes. So yeah, they can simply mix these vocabularies and have all the meaning that comes along with it. So all the meaning that comes from music ontology track number and expose it on their website. So a very, very valuable concept. And let's search for what they mark up with music ontology. So you can see here, the CD is of the type record. And then you can see here, MO track. So a music CD track is an MO track. So we have this information that everything that is below there forms part of a track. So we have this, and then we have the track number, we have the title, and we have the maker, which is Justin Timberlake, so the fourth maker. Let me show you this. So the music artist has the fourth name, Justin Timberlake, and he is the fourth maker of this thing, of this CD. So yeah, this is how Best Buy are using the semantic web. So basically, it all seems like double rainbows. All seems like perfect. But is it really double rainbows? Let's step back one step and say, well, we had this great Best Buy website, and they say, well, Cry Me a River is a track from a CD from Justin Timberlake. So what I did next was I went to the Best Buy website, and at least now you will see that I don't get paid by them. But I also don't mean to pick on them. They're really doing a great job. So if I type in here, Cry Me a River, Cry Me a River. So I've downscaled it so that you can see it. We have 3 results, okay? And now let's upscale it again. We have 1 CD from Joe Cocker, which is called Cry Me a River. We have something from Dexter Gordon, what is called Cry Me a River. And we have Cry Me a River import from the famous John Hicks trio. Whoever they might be. So what am I saying here? I'm saying here they have all this knowledge, but they don't use it yet. Because what would be relatively easy to do, like again easy like this, if they know that Cry Me a River is the name of a track of a Justin Timberlake CD, they could use this knowledge, but they don't yet. So I'm really sure they're trying and they will do in the future, but as of now, they're in the early stages. So now they have deployed this knowledge, now they need to use it. So if you think of it, what does this mean also for Best Buy themselves? And now we come back to your question. So even if Best Buy would complain, hey, we don't get rich snippets for, I don't know, whatever of these landing pages, think of the power that you have. That sometimes someone could just type in Cry Me a River and get information that it's a CD, that it is a track on a CD from Justin Timberlake. This would make search so much more powerful. I want to show you one short example of what I was thinking of. Who of you has heard of Freebase? A couple of hands. So Freebase is a really big database that has openly licensed content where people collaborate and write great articles on basically about everything. But this database has a schema. So people say, if I write London, I'm actually writing this is the name of a town. And so this database has the knowledge that we have things like places that have names, things like CDs that have tracks. So this database knows about these rules. So let me show you what I was hoping for to find on Best Buy, but what I didn't find yet. If you type something like Justin, you can see here, hopefully it's big enough, we have a couple of suggestions. So you can see Justin Timberlake, the musician. Justin Smith, the record producer. Justin Berkovi, the musical artist. So this is different persons. But now let's use this for something where we have a lot of double meaning. So Paris. You have Paris, the city, town, village. We have Paris Hilton, the socialite. That's an interesting category. We have the film. We have again the city, town, village, and then Paris Métro, the mass transportation system. So you can see this is a really powerful concept. If you use this and you're a retail website and you use this kind of knowledge that you have deployed, that Best Buy have deployed, and that a lot of other different websites that you have deployed on your website, if you start using this for improving your internal search, that's a really powerful concept. So now you can very easily say, well, I'm actually interested in this Paris. And then, yeah, hopefully, yeah, it's all perfect content. Nothing to be scared of. Yeah, let's make it a week. Yeah, so my point was, this is really a powerful thing. So currently, it is not all double rainbows. Currently, it's more like sad panda. But this is also an exaggeration because this panda has a potential. Because if you have this kind of rich snippets on your website, or rich snippet markup, or rich markup, be it for rich snippets or not, you have a lot of potential. So you're not a sad panda in a sense, you're a sad panda with a potential. And I want to show you something really recent that is in discussion right now, which is called the R-News vocabulary. So this is an initiative coming from the IPTC, which stands for something like, wait, I don't want to tell you something incorrect. IPTC, so it's like International Press something. Let's see. Yeah, International Press Telecommunications Council. So this is a council of basically the press, I think mostly in the US, but also international. And this is like a consortium where people like the New York Times would send people to. So something really important. And these guys have come together to come up with the so-called R-News vocabulary. So R stands for RDF, obviously, and news, yeah, it's about news websites. And this is the visual form of what they came up with. So you have centrally to everything a news item, and a news item has a headline. So you can see it from this side, right? A news item has media in them, and then a news item is created by a party, and a party can be a person, so it's in very up there. And an article is a subclass of a news item, and so on. A news item is discussed by comments, so I'm talking about the speech bubble. A party, so this is the three guys, can be also an organization. So, for example, a news item can be provided by, so this is one of the words that goes up to party, can be created by an organization, and an organization can have, it's in the very top left, for the people sitting on this side, can have a ticker symbol, so for the stock market, and so on. So news items can be tagged by a tag. Tags are subclasses of a location because they can stand for a location and so on. So this is a vocabulary that they came up with, that they said, well, let's imagine for a moment all the newspapers, or a lot of newspapers in the world, using this to mark up their content. So what would this mean? So let's think of a newspaper in Afghanistan discussing the death of Osama bin Laden, and newspaper in the Czech Republic discussing the death of Osama bin Laden, right? The perspective would be completely different. like Afghanistan versus here. So if you know that a certain news article is tagged with the concept that stands for the person Osama bin Laden. So even if one article is written in Czech, the other in, what do they speak in Afghanistan? Arabic? I don't know. So let's assume it would be Arabic. If they agree to use the same tag, because basically they're just using it in a sense of a URI, then you could compare the two articles and say, well, I'm sure that both articles are about the same thing. They were written on the same date, so we're really sure that they're talking about the same thing, and we can compare them, even if they use different languages, even if it's... we heard French radio when we came here. So in France it's Osama Ben Laden, so with E instead of I. So Bin versus Ben Laden. So machines would already not be able to figure this out. In English it's sometimes Usama, so with a U instead of an O. So there's a lot of small difference, or take Al-Qaeda. In German it's Al-Qaeda, sometimes Al-Qaeda, sometimes it's Qaeda, just the Qaeda without the L, and so on. So a lot of different words meaning the same thing. So if they're all tagged using this vocabulary, using the same physical, the same unique tag, you can think of searching. So you can say, are you searching about articles on really this Paris Hilton or Paris the town, or this Osama bin Laden or something? So this is really something that is being discussed right now. So these guys, the IPTC, have come up with this R-News vocabulary, and it's, I think, in 0.1, so not 1.0, but 0.1 release right now. So they're considering it something that has to be discussed. And I left a comment on the website, and basically they invite everyone to leave comments on the website and say, well, why did you do this? Or didn't you think of something like, I don't know, using, instead of media, using photos and videos, this kind of things. You can tell them, and you can participate in the discussion of this vocabulary. And if you participate in this vocabulary, maybe you're defining or helping define something that will be used by a lot of really important newspapers in the world. If you just decide to use this once it's published, perfect result. So if we have a lot of people from the library community here today, so if some of them decide to use parts of this vocabulary, this is a really good concept in my opinion. Because it gives you this integration into this global graph of people who are interested in doing news, or people who are interested in, I don't know, publishing articles or scientific papers or something. You're getting this all for free, more or less. So in the end, we're not sad pandas. We're like flying over the world and seeing ponies. So I hope this presentation, this discussion has helped you a bit on your trip to the land of glory. Have a lot of fun, but take care, unicorns are crossing, so it's a little bit dangerous sometimes. And maybe because it's everything a 0.1 standard, 0.2 will be a little bit different, but in my opinion now is a great time to get started in this, especially if you're in the content publishing sector. I gave a similar talk together with Arnaud in Berlin. When was it? In January? No, you were in March? Okay, March. And there I said one of the really great startup possibilities that I see currently are using, for example, a job description, a job search engine with job descriptions, and basing it on this technology. Yesterday, so literally yesterday, Monster.com came out with the announcement that they're using internally now this job ontology that they have come up with, where they say, well, if you're a sales guy, maybe you're also interested in account, representing jobs or something. So they have built this knowledge system internally where they say, well, if someone is into sales, probably this guy is also into, I don't know, or if you are a Java engineer, you're also probably interested in Eclipse or something like this. So they have built internally this representation of knowledge. And if you think of something like C#, so this funny programming language by Microsoft. So this was not a real comment. I have no idea about C#. So with a funny name, let's put it this way. So you have this C, and then you have this hash or sharp or whatever. How do people say this? How do people search this? If you say, I'm a C# developer, you can use C#, but I think there's also a couple of Unicode characters that build this hash symbol. You can type C and then literally type out sharp, or you can say, I don't know, Microsoft C or Objective C or whatever, I don't really know. So there's a lot of different words, again, for the same concept. So if a site-like monster is able to offer you, if you type in Objective C, and they say, do you mean the concept of the programming language Objective C? So let me show you how this actually looks like. Then, the world is also a better place because they can offer you better search and better job offers. So there's also a local play here. This is perfect. They don't seem to have the new search. Yeah. So now let's try it. C# in this town. Yeah. So you can see this. What I wanted to show you, I guess we have to go to the English website, not.com. United States. Yeah, and I can see here they have used standard search, so they have already activated the new search, and now we can have skills, and we can say we are, see? Microsoft C# or C#. So they find this because they have internally represented this. Like this, and then I can search in, I don't know. And then you can see here the same. Do you mean the city or do you mean the state? But this is pretty much standard. But what is new is this here. And also for the job titles. If you are a software engineer, you're probably also into software, the word below, software engineering. So this kind of things where people don't really know what a word stands for, or where people are unsure, should I put in software engineer or should I put in programmer? Or should I put in, I don't know, software quality assurance or software architect? So before that, the search was really only a strict keyword search. So if a job offer wouldn't have software engineer, and you would only type software, I don't know, architect, they wouldn't find them. So using this new technology, they can say, well, certain jobs are in the same, represent the same concept. If I'm saying concept all the time, I'm actually mostly referring to the idea of representing concepts using URLs. So let me show you Wikipedia. So Wikipedia is one of the biggest representations of knowledge. So this is your town. And then what people have done from the semantic web community, they've come up with the idea, well, why not convert this into something that would be semantic? So what they did is they used Wikipedia, called it DBpedia. And now you can see a DBpedia page for the same thing, but using a machine-readable version. So I make it big enough. So this is something that we can still read. So you can see this page is about Brno. The entity of the type is city, because obviously it's a city. It's defined within the data space of this DBpedia. Then you have the description. And then you can see what we have seen before. This concept of using a prefix and then using the vocabulary term. So we have DBpedia, our abstract. So abstract is like the summary. And is this Czech? I think so, right? No. Is it Hungarian? Slovak? Okay. Sorry. I don't know if they have the Czech version in here. But what you can see is a lot of different things. So you can see the mayor is the Czech Social Democratic Party. What else do we have? What would be interesting? Here, maybe the population. Does this sound about right? No. No? So it's old knowledge probably. Population as of 2009. Does this sound more realistic? Neither? So let's...
Population is correct.
Population is correct. Population metro, I don't think.
Oh, this one, okay. So we need to make sure. So population metro, maybe it means something else. Probably it means all the districts around. Yeah. So if we really wanted to be sure, we can simply look it up. What do they mean when they say population metro? So now we can have a look at this description. And it's not really helpful here, but we would need the machine-readable version. So, I don't know. If you look at the XML version, okay. So this is documented somewhere else then. But because we know that this is the unique word, population metro, in the namespace of DBP prop, so DBpedia property, we can look it up and we can check what is the actual meaning of population metro. It is not given here, but it is documented somewhere because this uses the complete vocabulary of DBpedia. So this site is really useful. Why is it useful? Because if you look at the page down here, you can see that there are different representations of it that you can look up. So one of the friendlier ones is the JSON version. And if you are into developing mashups and you want to use information from Wikipedia in a very easily readable way, you can use this representation of the town of Brno, for example, and like this, have a small widget in your page that always pulls in the latest, I don't know, population number from Wikipedia or something. Or if you need to know the geographic latitude-longitude values of all the Czech towns, you could use this source in this representation and like this find it. So let's try one thing. So I was trying to find something in Czech, but obviously they really don't have the information in Czech. So you can see here, there's a lot of lang en, so lang English. But this information is out there, and the DBpedia project is actively searching people from the local Wikipedia community or the local semantic web communities who can do the mappings, who can say, well, if something is, called so-and-so in the English Wikipedia, the Czech Wikipedia always uses, instead of place, they use mesto. Is this right? More or less. So this is, where also people can contribute to making this knowledge more valuable. So if people, and now I want to jump quickly back to here. If people, for example, say, my article is about the location of Brno, what they actually would do is they would use the URI of the DBpedia concept in most cases and say, well, we're talking about the concept that is represented by this website. So the advantage of URLs is they're globally unique. So whatever person uses this website, and whatever, this is a perfect example, whatever name they use for it, so you can see here, this is all the different labels that people have given to this city. So you can see Brno, Brünn, what else? This one, BRNE. So whatever words people use for it, because we use this concept of using the URL to identify it, we are sure that people are talking about the same concept. So, keep in mind, unicorns are crossing. I hope I could motivate people to use this. If you're interested into the whole technology behind Google Squared, I recommend a tech talk from Andrew Hogue. If you search for the structured search engine in Google Tech Talk, you will find it on YouTube. But there's also the link. This is for Google Square. So this is a product that is developed mainly in New York. And this is pretty much the end. Thank you very much for listening. I hope we have still time for questions. And don't forget the t-shirts, because we have raffled a couple of t-shirts. Do we have t-shirts left?
Sorry?
Do we have t-shirts left?
No.
Okay, we do all of them. Then thank you, and we have time for questions, I guess.